Hi there, I'm Eric Francis Coppolino, your friendly neighborhood astrologer here with a casual video introduction to The Awakening, your 2025 annual readings from Planet Waves by me. These are audio and video readings for all 12 signs and rising signs. They are the kind of reading that you might think would be impossible to do without the natal chart. But I am pretty good at doing this, and this is approximately my 27th year or so, let's see, 26th year, I think, of doing these readings. And I have developed my own method of doing this work. As far as I know, I'm the only astrologer who dares to do this kind of thing. Jonathan Kainer used to do something similar with his audio and written readings. I once saw him say that he could write 5,000 words a day, which, knowing Jonathan, I believe that would be the late, great horoscope writer and my friend who passed away, I think, in 2016. Anyway, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the astrology of 2025 and why these readings are going to be so helpful. And that really is my intention, is to provide practical useful information to help you guide yourself on your journey through these very complicated and fraught and I would say insecure times in which we are living. And before I get into any of these specifics, one of the things I love about astrology is that it is the most practical application of chaos theory. Astrology is about seeing the patterns in the chaos. And this is not some kind of an arbitrary thing. You really have to know what you're doing. And I put a lot of research into this. This is where I'm at right now. This is my most of this is the Awakening folder. This is the concentrated folder with the old branding. I fortunately switched to different art, but this was my first go at it. This is a photo of the New York State Thruway in the middle of the night. So astrology gives us a chance to take all of this chaos that we are living with and living through and look at it in a greatly slowed down mode. You can see, in a sense, frame by frame, theme by theme, where you might fit into these patterns. And so the way this works is that I do 12 chapters, 12 different, considerably different variants on what amount to the same 5 basic aspects. And so I rechart for every sign and then work my way through the houses and the major events. So you have a sense of what is present in the environment, what you are dealing with, what some of the obstacles are in the environment, what the opportunities are, what the challenges are. And I then use my abilities to frame this information for you in a way that is personally and directly relevant. I recommend working with your sun sign and your rising sign. They're both relevant, and when you have 2 different points of view, you get a means of let's say, triangulating. Even though there's only 2 viewpoints, you're the third viewpoint in the triangle. You're the one who will ultimately interpret the things that I say. I do my best to leave my ideas open and circumspect enough to give you room to bring your own interpretation. I do my best not to give advice, not to tell you what I think you should do, but I rather lay out the options that I think are available to you, and also look at where the friction and the movement is in your chart. Now, you may be wondering how I can do this without your birth time or even your birthday, and this is the miracle of the solar chart in astrology. The solar chart is a beautiful thing. And it counts houses from the sun or houses from the ascendant. And so it is fair to say that there are 2 charts for everyone. There's your natal chart, which is your personal chart, and then there's the solar chart, which is the chart for the sign. And the chart for the sign is what I'm working with. But where they overlay is, if you do know your chart, if you have your natal chart and you know a little bit about it, you know your rising sign, if you use the reading for your rising sign, you will have a rather personally relevant reading of the way that the current aspects influence your chart by way of the transits through the houses and what are called the mutual aspects. I don't want to get too technical in this presentation, and I only bring the minimal technical information that I need into the reading. I want to make sure that the work is satisfying to people who know some astrology and even to astrologers, but I never want to feel like I'm going over your head or getting caught up in the technical aspects. So I'm very much interpretive, and I take a kind of a spiritual and therapy-based approach, providing what the Quakers call queries, asking questions, and laying out the elements in the environment. Now, in 2025, we're dealing with a lot of really unusually potent changes that are coming on all at once, although some have been developing in 2024. 2025 and 26 is really when things come into focus. And the thing in the deep background is this is going to be the first full year of Pluto in Aquarius. And so we are going to get a real-time test of the power dynamics that are part of the new digital environment in which we seem to be living 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, this environment through which all of our relationships and group associations are focused and concentrated, and the qualities of this environment are going to shift somewhat radically with Pluto in Aquarius. Additionally, and this is, by the way, this is where the individual meets the group. Pluto in Aquarius is the story of where the one and the many intersect. Now, Aries also has something like that. There's this thing called the Aries point, which is the intersection of the individual and the collective. And this is a very, very big year for Aries. Aries is really the sign that we all have, let's say, the most in common with, because everyone needs the qualities of Aries. Aries is about initiative. It's about desire. It turns the key to all things in this incarnational experience. And there are two massive once-in-a-lifetime events, or maybe, well, once-in-a-lifetime events involving Aries. The last time we had anything like this, by the way, was the early 1970s. Something similar happened, and then in the mid-19th century, something like this happened. So this is not the kind of thing that repeats, and it is different. It's something that happens in different centuries. Is a different thing, and Aries, I think, is the most important sign associated with the impact of the digital environment on the individual. If you know my work at all, if you've been following me, you know that one of the most important spiritual issues that I've been tracking is the influence of digital technology on individual people, on who we are, how we feel about ourselves, how we think about ourselves, how we think about our bodies. And there are two massive events going on in Aries in 2025 and 2026. The warm-up for this, by the way, was the April 8th, 2024 total solar eclipse conjunct Chiron. That was like the kind of beginning of the beginning. Like, hello, a lot is about to happen. And in 2025, the Chiron-Eris conjunction makes its first exact contact. And this is not only representative of some kind of upheaval in society, it is an occasion for an awakening. That's why this reading is called The Awakening. There's a lot of stuff that completely overwhelms people. There seems to be some new influence making you want to go deeper into the digital dream, into the sleep of the digital environment every time you turn around. And Chiron conjunct Eris is about recognizing where you stand with yourself in the context of this crazy, completely detached from reality digital environment that we are in. And it's also an opportunity to redefine your existence, and is one of the most amazing aspects for self-actualization that I can imagine happening. The early 1970s, where something similar occurred under very different conditions, were also representative of a time of tremendous tropism, gravitation toward a craving for self-actualization. There were all kinds of therapy methods going on. People were curious about themselves. They were interested. There were group therapy processes going. If you look at the history of the early 1970s, it was really something special. This is similar astrology, but ramped up, amplified by the digital environment. Also in Aries, two major planets are moving into Aries. One of them is Saturn, and the other is Neptune. This does not happen often. Saturn shows up in Aries every 29 years. Neptune shows up in Aries, I think, every 146 or 64 years. I can never remember the exact length of Neptune's orbit, fairly typical of Neptune, but it's about every century and a half. And now these two planets, the planet of structure and the planet of dissolving, are showing up in Aries at the same time. This is more opportunity for self-creation, self-formation, and for formulating within your own life a response to all that has happened to you and all that has been done to you under what I'm calling full digital conditions. So that's two major developments. The first being Pluto going into Aquarius, emphasizing the relationship between the individual and the collective, and then all of this activity in Aries, which also emphasizes the relationship between the individual and the collective. I would be very nervous about Pluto in Aquarius if it were not for the positively awesome power of the events that are going to be unfolding in Aries. And these stretch out well into 2026, and these are before and after kinds of events. Society and people are never the same after they happen, but while they're happening, we get this moment to transform ourselves and to adapt and to rethink the nature of our reality and the nature of our relationships in real time. So this is a profound opportunity for growth. The third major element is the square of Jupiter and Saturn. So the two biggest planets are meeting in a 90-degree angle, Jupiter and Saturn, 90-degree angle. There's a lot of tension in the air with this. This is the sense of desperation that is running through society right now. It is this notion that we are at some last chance moment, that this is the last opportunity to do something, the feeling that time is running out. And time is not running out, but what is changing is the nature of the environment that we are in and the opportunities that we have. And the way that I look at Jupiter and Saturn in a square is a kind of a springboard into this new existence. So the way that one works is that Saturn's in Pisces and Jupiter is in Gemini. We've already had one contact. That was in August. We're going to have a second contact, and that is going to be in December. And then Jupiter changes signs and Saturn changes signs, and then both of these planets enter the cardinal signs. They make contact with the Aries point, and once again we're at the crossroads, the intersection point of the individual and the collective. And so the biggest questions of 2025 are: will you have the strength to stand up to what is likely to be significant pressure coming from the collective environment to go against your true self? Can you make enough contact with your true inner core being, or are you going to be persuaded to come from your not self, your inauthentic self, this projection around us? This is a very important question, and it is especially significant because the nature of the digital environment is to take you out of your true being. It is to take you out of yourself. So much of digital is about not self rather than authentic core inner authority. And the way that I see my job in doing these readings is to tell you a little bit about what your core inner authority feels like. Whatever you may think of my journalism or my astrology or whatever the things I do, the pictures that I take, there is one thing that I am really good at in this life, and that is being me all the time. And if A Course in Miracles is correct and that everyone teaches and teaches all the time, the thing that I aspire to teach all the time is it is possible to be exactly, precisely who you are all the time, and to not lapse into these traps of inauthentic self and unself and projections, and to be taken away from your inner authority, but rather to guide yourself back into your inner authority every time you make a decision. A little bit about these readings. We offer them first as a group of 12. The audio and the written are separate. So, they are sold together initially, and then we may split them off, but I think that's not a good idea. Every sign, therefore, comes with 2 readings, and they are very different readings. They are written from different points of view of experience. For example, usually when I have finished the written, I do the audio. And so I have learned everything I've learned from basically writing a book before I do the audio. And then if you follow 2 different signs or more, you get a lot of information that will not conflict and not be confusing. Another thing about this is if you order all 12 readings, you can share them with your household or your family, your significant others, those you consider your intimate partners. I encourage sharing of these readings. I want to get the discussion going, and I want to make them worth your while. And also, not that they're not any other way, but we bring things into a this household or family conversation. I think that their original use is amplified, and therefore their influence is amplified, but in a very personal way. So follow the mailings that are coming. We're going to keep the all 12 audio and audio and written together for a while, and we'll be offering different options along the way. And that's what I have to say. I'm here on the shores of magnificent Lake Ontario. You can't really see the lake. You can see some of the plants, and the kind of lighter shade above me is the lake itself. I've never spent time on this lake, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's become my new BFF. All right, so again, check the mailings for additional information. Enter your questions into the comments or write back to us at cs@planetwaves.net. Thank you for your business and for your trust. Thank you for being a customer of Planet Waves and for trusting me with this incredibly intimate thing of allowing me to tell you anything about what might be true in your inner life, even the way that I see your options laid out, the way that I see the challenges that you might face. I take this responsibility very seriously. I do my best to understate the case at all times and to never oversell my ideas, and just put them there and leave it to you to decide what you want to do with what I offer. All right, signing off from Wilson, right near Ontario, on the shores of Lake Ontario. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.